Good morning, everyone. My name is Kuku Chiane. I work for the National Youth Development Agency, and welcome everyone to our today's webinar. On the 11th of June, the Youth Month has begun, where we then celebrate our lost young people who really were there for us in 1976 to ensure that we have the freedom that we have today. So as the NYDA, we have today have a platform where we can then discuss the issues that young people need to look at, especially in the area of future of work, because the era of work is no longer the same, and we need to look at where we are going in order to have young people participating in those skills development programs, for them to be able to participate in the economy of the country as well and be able to access those opportunities. So on our platform today, we will have different speakers. I will request them to just give a brief introductions of themselves. However, the purpose of this session today will focus mostly on digital skills that are for the future, your automotives, your data science, the soft skills that you need in order for you to strive in the future. And also we look at the digital skills. So we have different panel members who are going to attack the subject matter for today. I will just firstly just introduce themselves, and then we'll get to the part where they will then take us through the presentation in terms of what they do and what is it that they are going to present to the young people of South Africa in terms of them participating in the economy of this country and gaining the right skills to prepare them for the future. So firstly, I will hand over to Mr. van der Merwe to introduce himself, and we'll go to Ms. Lombard, and we'll go to Vatiswa. Yeah, so over to you, our good and very knowledgeable panel. Over to you, Mr. van der Merwe.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Ma'am Chair, for the opportunity to participate. I think it's going to be a very nice session, an impactful session, I do hope. And we're looking forward to the session. My name is Wikus van der Merwe. I represent an organization called Human Capital Learning Solutions. And what we do is we're an accredited organization that deals mainly with entrepreneurial development, supported by various qualifications with QCTO, MICT-SETA, and various other organizations. We do work closely with NYDA in this regard to look at the development of rural and township economies, and we're also in partnership with Vaal University. So I'm looking forward to this interaction. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. van der Merwe. Ms. Lombard.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Antoinette Lombard. I'm from the Vaal University of Technology here in the cold Vanderbijl Park. And trust me, it is freezing this morning. As you know, well, you all know what a university does. But I think the add-on that I want to share with you today is what we bring in terms of our community engagement. Community engagement is a very important pillar for the university. So it's important that we also give back to those who cannot necessarily join in the formal education sector, but then go back to the communities and see how we can make an impact there. And today I'll specifically share with you a bit more on the world of ICT SMMEs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Lombard. Ms. Vatiswa, over to you.
Thank you. Thanks, Gugu. Good morning, everyone. I'm excited to be here and looking forward to sharing with you all today. My name is Vatiswa Kilivane, and I am from an organization called ALX, and we are in the space of youth empowerment as well, particularly in tech and digital training. We have a mission to empower 2 million young Africans in technology and AI and entrepreneurship, so that we can build and mold, entrepreneurial and ethical leaders for our continent. So that's what we do. And really today, my role and what I'm looking forward to is just sharing a little bit, a shallow dive into the interaction we have as humans with technology and AI. So I'm excited to share. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our panel and your introductions. And I'm sure young people are looking forward to hear in terms of what can they benefit from all the organization, the Human Capital Learning Solutions, Vaal University of Technology, and ALX Africa. Very interesting today. So we will have an agenda in front of us. We will be looking at the digital skills, the digital literacy that we, as I've indicated earlier, and also our panels have indicated in terms of how the communities also benefit in terms of the emotional intelligence and the soft skills that are required for the future of work. And we'll also look at the skills development that our partners offer for our young people and how can they benefit in that, in ensuring that they go into those programs that are out there and how do they then participate. So firstly, from our agenda, we'll have Mr. Vikas from HCLS, the Human Capital Learning Solutions, and he will be taking us through some of the learnings that they offer from their side. Thank you. Over to you once again, Mr. van der Merwe.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can I then ask that the presentation be shared?
Okay, you can then share it.
There we go. So yes, thank you for the opportunity once again. The topic, when I got the topic from the organizers, I thought to myself, digital literacy and soft skills. Is it still needed? Is it still needed that we actually have even a discussion on these topics? When we look at Human Capital Learning Solutions, we play in the space, and Ms. Antoinette Lombard will elaborate more. We look at ICT SMME development, and we've developed quite a comprehensive model. But underpinning that model, we came to the realization that yes, when we look at digital literacy, there's still very, very much a need for digital literacy. But perhaps what we need to ask ourselves as a fraternity is to ask ourselves, per definition, what does digital literacy actually mean? From a legacy definition perspective, I think from my perspective, there was a completely different connotation to the meaning of digital literacy. Digital literacy in the legacy type of definitions, to me, had a meaning of, are we computer literate? Do we know how to switch a computer on? Do we know how to access some of the basic applications that a computer can offer? Do we know how to navigate the internet? So those were some of the definitions that permeated into the term digital literacy. So I think what we need to do is to ask ourselves, have we ever stopped for a moment and ask ourselves currently, in the era where terminologies such as the fourth industrial revolution, the Internet of Things, AI, DeepSeek, ChatGPT, all these terminologies that's being thrown around in the corridors, do we really know how to navigate ourselves with the current competencies and skill sets and understandings that we have to really interpret and make value out of these various components? So therefore, it's very important that we go back to basics and ask ourselves, what do we really mean in terms of digital literacy? Let me see if I can, So the discussion points I actually want to touch on today is, let's have a look at digital literacy in today's era and and the reality that we find ourselves in. Let's ask ourselves, is there still a place for digital literacy from a legacy type of perspective, in terms of, does it only mean navigating a computer, navigating the internet, or is there a little bit more than that? Secondly, when we develop entrepreneurs, when we develop our youth, we've come to the realization that there's a critical need for us to look at soft skills, to reevaluate our understanding and the appreciation of what soft skills can actually do for the total entire development of these youth. Sometimes we tend to focus on the technical development, we focus on the business skills, but that underlying foundational skill set in terms of soft skills goes by the wayside. And it's costing us dearly at the end of the day, because our youth, in a lot of instances, do not know the importance of good, effective communication, as an example, and I unpack that in a little bit more detail. A third component or building block that I think is also left behind sometimes in these development programs of ours is an understanding of emotional intelligence and the critical importance of what it means in a business and in a personal environment to be emotionally mature. And then last but not least, what I would like to cover is the growth mindset. So let's have a look at digital literacy for starters. There is a need for us to understand that traditionally, and even in many discussions, digital literacy, as I've mentioned, are seen as your usage of a computer. We go into our rural areas, we go into our townships, and we still try to build the basic foundational skills on how to switch a computer on, what is memory, how to access the internet, how to serve the internet, etc., etc. Very important. But it's ever a lot more than that. It's about our ability and our capability to make sense of an ever interconnected society that we find ourselves in. There's sets of data flowing all around us. When we talk about the fourth industrial revolution, there's a component called the Internet of Things, the interconnectivity of things. So within the ambit of digital literacy, I would believe it's also very important for us to understand the implications, the personal value, the commercial value that interconnected data sets or pieces of information can have on our lives. So it's really about the way that you interpret the current reality through data sets. And to me, that would be an all-encompassing discussion on digital literacy. We cannot nowadays just focus on the very fundamentals of digital literacy in terms of switching on a computer or being able to use Microsoft Word. Those are fundamentals that is needed, but we need to move along very quickly past those phases. So when it comes to communication and collaboration, furthermore, it is important to understand that the effective use of digital tools like MS Teams, today we're interacting on a new platform that I've never worked on before. So these platforms are many platforms that is available, and we need to be able to navigate the landscape in terms of the collaboration tools that is available to us. And once those fundamental skill sets or competencies are available, then from a communication collaboration perspective, the navigation of these various platforms and tools becomes a lot more easier. Let's quickly talk about digital citizenship and safety. So from that perspective, we need to understand that we're in an ever-connected digital environment that we find ourselves in. And the key question, I think what we need to ask ourselves is, how responsible are we as citizens in this newly created digital environment that we find ourselves in? It's not only a local environment that we find ourselves in nowadays, it is a global environment that we find ourselves in with various protocols, various standards, various safety measures. Can we navigate as responsible digital citizens our existence in those sort of global data village that we find ourselves in? One thing that I just want to put out there, what is important for us to realize is your private information becomes public as soon as we start sharing on social media platforms. So be very, very sensitive and be very careful and responsible in terms of what we are posting out there on social media platforms. What we always try and emphasize with our entrepreneurs when we do the coaching and mentoring is when we start using social media, remember, you're a business individual now, and you need to be responsible in terms of how you protect your brand as a business entrepreneur on the internet. So we cannot go out on weekends and really live the life and then start posting stuff. And on Monday, I'm trying to be a professional, trying to push my brand. So it's about brand reputation. And that brand reputation, unfortunately, when you're in the professional environment, as a business individual, goes both ways, personally and professionally. So let me look at the last aspect quickly, the technical proficiency. This is understanding the basic applications. Like I said previously, in terms of there should be proficiency in terms of applications, but nowadays these applications is stretched much further than just basic Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. It's a basic understanding of what cloud computing means, what cybersecurity means for you, etc., etc. Soft skills. I think we can spend like 2-3 hours on a discussion on soft skills. So when one looks at soft skills, I think first and foremost, let's look at the term communication. A lot of the times when we do our workshops, we ask a general question as an icebreaker to say, but how good of a communicator are you? And funny enough, 80% of the groups would say 8 out of 10. And of course, we know, even if we just do a bit of self-reflection in terms of communication, I think it's impossible that a whole group of 20, 50 delegates can be an 8 out of 10. But sometimes we forget that communication nowadays is about two-way communication. It's about active listening, which is a core skill as well. And that core skill in terms of active communication sometimes needs to be learned. That is a competency that needs to be acquired. There are some other communication skills that needs to be unlearned. But from a communication perspective, soft skills, communication is probably one of the core competencies that needs to be developed. When one looks at teamwork and collaboration, sometimes it's important for us to understand what is my role, what is my contribution to the team, and how can I effectively add value from a teamwork perspective. Now, in teamwork, specifically from a youth perspective, we've picked up in organizations that what is some of the gaps is that as a team player, sometimes our team members do not understand clearly what is required from him or her. So from that perspective, I think it's basically always have a clear understanding in the team environment. What are your strengths and what do you actually bring to this team? And how can we maximize those core capabilities that you bring in a team environment? Understanding that in a team environment, sometimes you can play the role of a marketeer. Sometimes you can play the role of an operations individual, of a technical expert, and then play those roles. This is what teamwork is all about. But more often than not, some team members, obviously with strong personalities, could take over that team environment. And then the team leader, because of certain experiences, do not have a strong enough role to play and therefore cannot bring the team into order. Problem solving, also close to what we do as an organization. Problem solving is a skill that is inherent and that needs to be developed continuously within a team environment, professionally as well as personally. Do we have those competencies in asking ourselves, what is it that I'm dealing with? Where did this problem occur? How is it possible? What is the probability? What are the alternatives? There's a specific logical process that needs to be followed in terms of teamwork. Gugu, I can see Madam Chair is getting anxious to push me for time. Can I maybe have another 2 slides to go?
Okay, no, it's fine. You can. I can give you 2 minutes more.
All right. Emotional intelligence. Let's quickly touch on emotional intelligence. What is emotional intelligence? It's the ability to understand and manage our own emotions. Also to understand the projections of your own conviction or emotions on individuals, either in a teamwork or in a family setup. So let me repeat that. It's the ability to understand and manage your own emotions, but more so realizing the impact and the effect that your emotions can have on individuals that you actually work with. So basically, EQ, it's about being smart and it's about being able to manage your own emotions. And there's a lot of research that is available that one could actually engage in. My last discussion point is on having a growth mindset. And the growth mindset, the term was firstly proclaimed by Dr. Carol Dweck. And it's the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through things such as continuous learning. We can never stop learning. We all know that. There's a lot of open source activities and opportunities that one can engage in. The growth mindset can be developed through resilience in the face of failure. Talking back to our youth from an entrepreneurial perspective, resilience is probably one of the most important traits and characteristics that needs to be understood in order for us to understand that your business will not pick up within the first 2 months of operations, within the first 3 months of operations, within the first 6 months of operations. So having that growth mindset will just create that underlying foundational development opportunities for these youth. And of course, to other aspects before I close, it's about being innovative and creative. That can encourage a growing mindset, and then also thriving through ambiguity. And I think those are, within the 10 minutes that I had available, some of the components that I wanted to add. But from my perspective, some of the key aspects that we need to ask ourselves is, are we ready for what this new age digital environment is actually posing to us? Are we ready to interact? Are we ready to participate? Those are the key questions I want to leave you with. Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Mr. Van der Merwe. Hopefully the young people, they did catch information. Unfortunately, because of time, we might not be able to cover everything, but I think in terms of the soft skills, the emotional intelligence that young people require in order to strive there, Mr. Van der Merwe was able to cover. And especially in terms of digital literacy, to say we all now needs to know that we have to know how to use computer at least and be able to go through all the tools that are available in our computers. Without the waste of time, I will also now give Ms. Vatiswa Giliva to now take us through in terms of the artificial intelligence technology that is out there that can be utilized as well by young people in order for them to access opportunities. Over to you, Mr. Vatiswa.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Gugu. And thank you, Mr. Van der Merwe, for that insightful shallow dive and 10-minute presentation. Some great insights shared there, which are actually going to be very helpful for me as I segue, I think, to the next part of like what and how these digital tools and platforms can be utilized. Mr. Van der Merwe, I like what you said about going back to the basics, because quickly, just to preface my presentation, Gugu, can you confirm if you can see my slides and all of that and everything is good?
Yes, Mr. Tiswa, everything is good.
Perfect. Amazing. Right. Going back to the basics is very important. Whenever I speak to young people, I talk about speaking to young people, especially when we talk about concepts, like you rightfully said, Fourth Industrial Revolution. AI, Internet of Things, and all of this, these can sometimes be big, convoluted buzzwords that young people in our local context, some, not all, but I think majority, are not able to understand, and it can be daunting and it can be overwhelming, especially if you're going to go to rural areas and underserved communities where some young people still don't have access to computers. So it's very important that I preface it with that those basics of digital literacy, knowing how to operate a computer really is the key and the gateway to then inviting young people into a safe space where they can understand when we talk about then the next step in terms of participating, exploiting, and taking advantage of these digital tools, and that are actually advantageous and are needed and important, and I can even say critical for a young person to get into the job market today. So I want to talk about, these tools as a way for us to utilize them to thrive, not to see them as these fearful monsters that are here to get us. And it's interesting because artificial intelligence in movies is always depicted as these robots that are out to get, to eliminate the human race. So I think the perspectives also that are there on mainstream media are not helping us at all. So AI and data, in my lens, as a way of viewing it to thrive, not to fear. And I thought that I'll take a untraditional approach with this one, just as a way of trying to illustrate my point. And I'm using the analogy of a car. And I want to start by talking about the evolution of things. We've all watched old vintage movies where we've seen the era. I didn't even know this was the 1800s. I also actually want to say my presentation, and it's going to make sense right at the end, was actually generated within an hour using an AI tool. And I did that because I wanted to show you and demonstrate in real time the power of artificial intelligence or AI tools, and understanding how to utilize them, how it can be beneficial, and for in terms as a skill that can level up your CV and put you in front of that potential employer that needs that skill. So I want to share that and put that disclaimer. This is done intentionally. So the evolution of things, and the evolution of things, not just how they evolved, but in relation to where technology was in the old era to the now, so that we can just understand how things change over time and how technology and now AI is bridging and making that gap even closer in terms of how quickly or slowly these changes and happen that bring about that evolution. In the 1800s, we had horse-drawn carriages. We see them now in movies. I didn't live in that era, or I didn't exist. I think none of us on this call did exist in that era. We see them in movies, and these are things now you'll probably see when you travel overseas as a tourist attraction, at a wedding and the couple is on a horse carriage. It's like they are fun entertainment effects and objects now. We didn't live in that era. But the correlation with technology is about how there wasn't access to technology. And at that time, an analogy of a motor vehicle, the evolution of a motor vehicle, at that time, that was only limited to animal strength, horses pulling the carriage. And in terms of traveling, people, it took months, weeks or months or even years sometimes to get to point A, from point A to point B. If you've done history, I've forgotten a little bit about it in high school, but we talk about the settlers coming into our shores in 18 whatever, and they traveled for years. I don't know how many. Any history people here will correct me, but just to bring it home, because there was limitations in how fast the carriages could move, because they are dependent on animal strength and to cover that distance. Then in the 1900s, the first automobiles came about. There was a little bit of basic technology integration here, and this is the era of mass production. We started seeing things being produced in more numbers. There was a little bit of automation programmed into machinery that is used. Those of us who come from the rural areas or outside of Joburg, we have mothers and fathers who said, we're going to the factory. You know, there were factory workers. So still in the 1900s, there was a lot of dependency in human capability to produce these mass products, but there were some aspects of the production line that were automated, where a machine, as an example, could be programmed just to press a door of a vehicle, and then the rest of it, the human still needs to fetch it once it's done, go place it in another aspect of the assembly line. Other people are drilling and connecting wheels and all of these things to put that in place. So then we now fast forward into the 2000s and early 2000s. We now start seeing quite a bit of advancements in technological and digital integrations into the motor vehicle, where we have onboard computers, and these things started looking like, now suddenly your steering wheel, you could turn the volume up and down on your steering wheel. The radio system of a car was a bit more advanced, touch screen and all of these things. And we now had GPS. Your car could help you, obviously, with internet connectivity. The tools need connectivity, could help you drive and get to where you're going, and you could connect external tools. So that was a bit more technological integration. And what digital integration does as well, it now means that certain cars that were only produced in certain areas or parts of the world, from a government involvement point of view, and in the building of economies and building relationships with different economies, we, South Africa, as an example, could now have plants in South Africa producing German cars, because the technology is easily transferred and shared to be able to do that. Then fast forward to the day, to today, the day of AI-powered vehicles. We hear a lot about, a good example is the Tesla, that is EVs, electronic vehicles. Some of these do not require, diesel or petrol. You connect them and charge them like you charge any other appliance in your house. Or a great example that I've used here, if you can see that picture nicely, those vehicles actually are e-hailing vehicles. I think they are parked somewhere in California in the United States, and those things you see at the top of that vehicle is actually GPS, I'm going to call it mechanisms. It's GPS tools. Those are self-driving cars. That is the power of technology, and that is the evolution of technology that is the technological innovation that has allowed the evolution in motor vehicle over time. And I wanted to just do that to just showcase how technology can actually help us innovate, and if used properly, can be a good thing and not a bad thing. And it says here, just as cars didn't replace our need to travel, AI won't replace our need for human ingenuity. It just creates a better vehicle for it. So we still remain the geniuses. We still hold the bank, the think tanks and the banks for creative ideas, because technology and AI requires data that that comes from us to be able to create those innovations, or to help us create those innovations. Then quickly talking about a toolkit for the future. I won't deep dive into this. because there's so many tools. There's thousands and thousands of tools out there that young people can upskill in and use. But from a AI and data point of view, I want to talk about just a few. So data analysis and visualization, machine learning platforms, and the big one that's really booming right now, the creative and generative AI, right? Now, these are tools that if you know how to leverage these tools in the workplace, say as an employee, because businesses and corporations and governments are looking to automate tasks to bring efficiency so that businesses can scale. And scaling means reach more people, sell more products, generate more revenue, and then get more profits, right? That's the whole basic illustration here of why technology and technological innovations are important. And then quickly, I want to do something just as a demonstration. So we're going to enter a skill here, and then we're going to take 1 minute, and we're going to look at data and oh my goodness, can't spell. Let's say data scientist. Let's just quickly look at the career paths a young person can, okay, AI is thinking, please don't disappoint me. Please don't disappoint me. But basically, there's a lot of, there's so many, there you go. There's so many career paths that one can take by learning some of these skills. So first, as an example, the first one, junior data analyst. And, you know, there's a description here of what it is, what a junior data analyst does, the responsibilities. But look at this, guys. The estimated junior level salary range in Rand value is 22,000 Rand to 38,000 Rand per month. Of course, this will require on your skills, your experience. This will depend on your skills, your experience, and all other things. So it's not cast in stone. But this is just an example of what's available out there. If we really utilize, we're not fearful. We're not scared of these platforms, and we really treat technology and AI as something that we need to make friends with rather than fear, something that can benefit us rather than hurt us. Another one, junior data scientist, the job title, description, so that you understand what it requires, some key responsibilities, salary range. And these are junior levels, right? These are not senior people, executives. That means you as a young person today can go and acquire these skills and level yourself up and put yourself in a position where you would be able to take advantage of these opportunities. And with machine learning, you build and train models that can predict, classify, and learn from data. So think about those robots you see in the movies. A programmer or a developer, someone who can code, and a code is an instruction for the robot or the machine to do something, whatever that something is, right? So not all of us are going to be programmers or developers or coders, but that's another opportunity. That's an opportunity that is big right now. Corporations and businesses are looking for that. Creative and generative AI, it's my favorite. This is exactly how I created this presentation I am sharing with you now. The thing about using AI tools to generate content, any kind of content, you still need to know and be knowledgeable about your topic or subject matter, so that when you get the information back, you are able to refine the prompt, meaning the instruction that you are giving the tool. You are able to identify errors and mistakes, and you are able to refine so that you get the end product that you are looking for, that is based on facts and authentic true information. So AI tools are not there for us to cheat our way into things. They are there to make our jobs easier, to make us more efficient, and to fast track what we do. Then lastly, in the South African context and South African opportunity, ethical and creative use of AI. This is very important. Mr. van der Merwe spoke about once we start giving these platforms our information, now your personal data is out there. Now, personal data, guys, is a commodity. This is why you get SMSs from, those shops that say, hey, do you want a loan? Do you want this? Your personal data is out there. Someone knows who you are, has your number and your email address, and they are able to contact you. The question is how. So there's ethical and unethical use of data, and there's ethical and there's unethical use of AI. So we need to make sure that in the ethical campus, we tackle biases. So we shouldn't be generating AI creative content that only serves a certain demographic and excludes and discriminates other people from a conversation or an opportunity, right? We need to make sure that we're inclusive and transparent. And we need to ensure that when we do that, we uphold the POPIA policies in terms of using personal information. And in terms of the creative spark, we can tell unique African stories through digital art, music, and content. And we can also solve local challenges in spaces like water, energy, and services, because all of a sudden now, information that would not be readily available to you through a quality prompt, you are able to generate information that sits in other parts of the world that have already resolved that issue. In terms of data matters, especially in the South African context. We have a lot of sectors that need technological innovation, like agriculture, finance, healthcare, education, and retail. Sis Gugu, do I have 1 minute to do a quick prompt here to showcase what I mean by that? Or am I over?
I'll give it to you 1 minute. Let's make it 1 minute.
1 minute. So I wanted to showcase here what AI can do. For example, if we wanted, let's say as a team at work, you've been tasked to brainstorm a solution because the business wants to move into healthcare and bring about whatever solution, right, in healthcare. So this could be your starting point, right? Where it's like a think tank. You usually we would be putting things on the notice board or on the flip chart and just to get some ideas. So now we are generating some we're brainstorming some ideas, and we're leveraging AI as our collaborator. This is merely a starting point, as a direction and the guide and assistance for you to be able to build. So here, look, it's come up with some here are 3 practical and innovative AI-powered solutions for the healthcare sector in South Africa. So you would obviously need to take this information and go do a bit more research to find out if indeed these ideas and proposed solutions make sense in the South African context, because it's data coming from all over the place, and we need to sense check it, fact check it, so that we make sure that what we are going to end up working on, the solution we are going to be targeted on, is in fact on a real life problem. So the problem that is addressed, it gives you instruction how AI can be utilized to bring about those solutions, and the potential impact on the community when it comes to that. So that is just my little demonstration on how we can really leverage AI, make it our best friend, and ensure that it helps us in navigating the technology landscape, but not only that, in navigating how we participate in the economy by either, 1, starting our own businesses, that are based in technology and AI, or leveraging up our CVs and our portfolios so we can be attractive to an employer that is looking for those skills. So the future is not AI versus humans. I believe that the future is humans with AI. So let's build that future together. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Vatiswa, for the great presentation on how can we use AI for us to strive in the future. Yeah, it was really engaging, and I'm sure young people also enjoyed the presentation, and they are going to try and see how do they work with AI, and especially the young people who are in business, the small businesses. I think if you try and utilize AI, you can be able to deliver on time the products you offer. You can also be able to save on costs. So let's just try and look into that and ensure that we then utilize these platforms. We don't see them as if they are coming to take out on the jobs from people, but let's try and use the platforms to work for us and ensure that we participate in the economy. Thank you so much then, Sister Vatiswa, for the presentation. I will also then now call upon Mr. Khoza from Mentech Foundation. I will request that Mr. Khoza firstly introduce himself. He has joined us a bit later after we have done the introductions for the session. And I believe he will be looking on the topic on the green economy. We are in a very cold weather in Gauteng. During this time, there's snows in the Eastern Cape. We've had some sad stories happening there because of the climate change that is happening. So we need to now see how we can get skills that are going to save us from the impacts, climates that we see. I'm in Pretoria. I experienced thunderstorms in June. So we need to get young people to have the right skills to make sure that we know how to strive in the green economy. Over to you, Mr. Khoza. Thank you.
Thank you so much, colleagues. My name is Soli Khoza from Mentech Foundation. I'm so excited to be here. I think that's a starting point, and we are going to share skills that are out there in the green economy, but I would like us to also look at a practical example that young people can actually look at. By practical example, our interest is to share opportunities that are out there, but also give them an opportunity, something they can actually apply to do, and possibly, get young people to be employed after this presentation. Let me share my slide. I'm not sure if I'm audible to everyone. Am I loud?
Yes,
and
we can
clear?
hear you. We can hear you.
Okay,
Mr. Khoza.
100%.
Yes.
Okay. How much time do I have, colleagues?
Mr. Khoza, I'll give you 10 to 15 minutes.
Thank you so much. And if I may, are we able to share videos from a Google platform?
Mr. Khoza, can I request that you send what you've prepared to Ms. Shabangu Andile, if you can. But you can also just present on what you have. You don't have to showcase it. It's fine. you can just go ahead in that manner. Yeah, so you don't have to worry about it showing on the screen. You can just go through it, and the audience will then, yeah.
Yeah, but can you see my slide?
Yes, you can.
Oh, 100%.
Yes.
Colleagues, I'm going to present a program that we call a 1-for-106 strategy. And I'm going to explain how it works. I think in terms of green economy, we understand that young people can have opportunities around solar installations, around water purification, recycling, and so forth. But I want to spend all this time talking about something that is going to be simplified, one, but two, after the presentation, young people can actually, engage us and get these opportunities. So let us start. When you look at South Africa, we have about 257 plus communities. And by communities, I mean municipalities. And if you look at all these communities, there's a common factor that is affecting all of us. And that is load shedding. In as much as I would like to talk about recycling and water purification, I want to specifically look at renewable energy. Now, if you have 257 communities and you can come up with a model, a green economy model that can create 50 jobs per community, it means per year you can create 12,000 plus jobs in that particular, in the whole country. But imagine a scenario where you could create 106 jobs per community. Because ultimately, when young people have heard about all these opportunities, career paths, I think the bottom line is that they are looking for jobs. They are looking to, build skills that are relevant for our economy. And this is what I'm going to be talking about. And we are saying we have a model that could create 106 jobs per community. And this model is simplified in such a way that young people can almost right away, get involved after this presentation. Now, it is common knowledge, colleagues, that, there are so many careers beyond solar installations. Green energy economy is not just about lithium batteries and so forth. There's opportunities in the agriculture space, opportunities in the mining space, specifically around green economy or green jobs. However, I want to explain how the model works. From the 257 communities that we have, when you put we've created what we call a green off-grid, a social economic development franchise. And we call it a franchise, not necessarily because it's a KFC or a commercial franchise, but it's simply because it's a green economy model that has to do with skills development, enterprise development, job creation, and it is packaged in such a way that it can be replicated throughout the country. Now, the Green Off-Grid franchise is containerized, which means from it, customers are able to go as if they're going to a retail outlet to get solar installation assistance, solar training, and solar accessories. And what we do, we go to the communities before that franchise is installed in a particular community. The rule is that we need to create employment for 4 graduates. Those 4 graduates, for 2 graduates, and those 2 graduates, they become the administrators of this green economy franchise model, which is called Green Off-Grid. Now, the rule is also to train 100 young people at that particular community. So for instance, if we go to Soweto, it means we need to have 100 young people trained in Soweto on solar installations. And the 100 candidates will then form 4 graduate companies. And those graduate companies become service providers to the Grain of Great franchise. So in essence, once the graduates have been trained on solar installations, they become the installers. And when commercial as well as domestic customers go to the Grain of Great franchise model, they are then referred back to the graduate companies. With this model, we have been able to create more than 300 jobs first 3 months when we created the program. Now, in order for the model to work, the model suggests that young people must be tired enough about load shedding as a starting point. But 2, it creates an environment where young people start learning about the difference between gel battery installations, lithium battery installations. They become installers. They are paired with mentors, professional mentors. And through this, there is also an artificial intelligence integration. And the artificial intelligence integration on this particular model says follow. Before the Grain of Great social economic development enterprise is installed in a community, there must be research and development. And we use artificial intelligence tools to collect data and to make decisions based on that data. As you know, colleagues, just like when companies want to install or put a shopping center in a particular area, we will get researchers to do demand studies and so forth. Now, because of artificial intelligence, we're able to, collate the data, make decisions from that data, and be in a position where we know where to allocate the Grain of Great franchise model. Now, when the model is installed, it becomes a solar installation hub where domestic customers are able to go there and look for solar installations. Shopping centers are able to go to the Grain of Great franchise model, where they are assisted by graduate administrators, graduate companies supported by professional installers. But in so doing, it simply means that you create an environment where a number of households per community get solar installations. And by doing that, you're creating jobs. And number 2, once the jobs are created, there's another layer where young people are also employed to do customer service now, using artificial intelligence, using technology, to understand the households that have installed the solar solutions. Is the solution still working? If it's still working, they suggest additional components around increasing the power output. And over and above that, when we're installing to farmers, young people are able to engage with farmers to understand additional technology that is needed in order for the farmers to track their energy. These franchises are being spread right now throughout the country. We've launched one with NYDA last year. This particular one that you're looking at, it was launched in Pongola, in KZN. There's another one which is launched in Mpumalanga. There's 3 that are being launched in KZN. But in essence, the whole point is to come up with a solution that creates jobs for young people. And the bigger picture is that ultimately it will not be enough in the country to just have so many solar installers in communities. But we are looking also at integrating a model which we call a Power Bridge project. This is where we put mini solar power stations where communities can actually purchase alternative energy. And all of this is done and managed by young people. And the whole point here is for us to integrate a model where Eskom could be assisted through renewable energy. And this particular model, colleagues, has created more than 300 jobs so far. And this year we're looking at creating more than 700 jobs. There's quite a number of government institutions who've ordered the franchises, because those franchises integrate skills development and they integrate enterprise development, which means Cisco, we could come to Pretoria, put a social development franchise, get young people to be trained, 100 young people to be trained in your particular community. And those young people, they form 4 enterprises. The enterprises become service providers. They are taught on basic entry-level solar installations. They are taught on commercial installations where they can install in shopping malls and companies. And they're also taught on how to maintain the installed solar solutions. With that said, the model where you combine solar installations plus community energy stations will then create sustainable jobs, because these projects must be managed by a forum or a body within that community. And these projects need young people to, install the solution, maintain the solution, do customer service, do also what we call a BPO model. The BPO model is a support service where if somebody has bought a solar panel or an inverter or a solar pump, a young person will be part of a contact center to contact the customer to understand whether they are having a right experience with the product that they have bought. Now, the bigger picture here, colleagues, is that we want to open up an opportunity for young people to be trained as solar installers, to be trained as unit managers, to be trained as power station administrators, and to provide tangible solution in their communities. And to do all of this, we need to have young people raising their hands to say, I want to be installed. As we speak right now, there are adverts that have been put on the NYDA platform, opening up an opportunity for young people to be installed, to be trained on solar. So we are inviting young people to, join this opportunity, take charge of their careers in the renewable energy space, and take advantage of this opportunity that has been presented by NYDA. Thank you so much, colleagues.
Thank you so much, Mr. Khoza. Hopefully young people have heard. A call have been made, young people, to say you need to take out an opportunity to participate in the role of installing the solars, and this is going to be a solution also in what we are experiencing as a country. We get load shedding every now and then. So this can really assist us, and the young people had to take up the plot and go out there and take this great opportunity that has been presented, that you can even form your own small business. You can be trained in terms of how to install these solar panels, and you can also then be able to participate in the economy, and you can also transfer the skills to the other young people in other areas, especially in our rural areas and urban areas and semi-urban areas as well. Thank you so much, Mr. Khoza, for the presentation. And now we'll give to Ms. Antoinette Lombard from VUT, as she introduced herself earlier. She will also going to be talking on the skills development programs that VUT embarked on in terms of the future work that is available to young people. Over to you, Ms. Antoinette Lombard, for your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gugu, and good morning again from my side. Yes, I was asked to share a bit about SMMEs. I think the time has arrived where we need to look at other opportunities than just employment opportunities. We know that there's not enough employment available for everyone. So why not move into the space of creating employment instead of just looking for a job out there? I just quickly want to give some background on what we do. We are officially called the Northern Cape and Southern Gauteng eSkills CoLab, and we're hosted at VUT. So although I work for VUT, I also run this government initiative on behalf of VUT. Now, the CoLab is funded by NAMISA, and NAMISA is the National Electronic Media Institute of South Africa. And I'm sure that some of you have heard about NAMISA and maybe even done some of their courses. They, in turn, is a state-owned entity within the Department of Communication and Digital Technologies. So most of the funding that we receive do come from DCDT. The main purpose of this CoLab is to upskill, reskill, and just to skill people in basic digital literacy skills, but also to take them into more advanced opportunities to make sure that we bring them into the digital economy and the country and the rest of the world. And that also links back to what Mr. Van der Merwe said, and the importance of digital literacy can never be overestimated. So we are responsible for skills development within this digital space in the areas Gauteng and Northern Cape. But when it comes to our ICT programs, more on a technical side, we actually deliver these programs across the country, and I will give you a bit more insight on those type of programs. So there's two topics I'm going to cover. The one is the one on what is available for SMMEs out there in terms of platform, and the second one then is the platform of the opportunities that we offer to communities across the country. So as I said, the importance of SMMEs in our country cannot be focused, or there's not enough focus on it. And it's so important that we look at the role of SMMEs. I've seen in some of the comments that we do have some of our previous SMMEs in the audience, and I think they can also share on their experience and how important their role is. So SMMEs plays this vital role in various ways. They can help with job creation. They can help with economic growth. They can help with innovation and flexibility. I think there's a lot of innovative ideas within our communities. And these youngsters just never get the opportunity to actually bring them forward and do something with them. They can assist with poverty reduction, with the development of their local opportunities and the local economies within the township. Skills development and training. There's no reason why a SMME cannot train other young people in the area. And then encouraging entrepreneurship overall and giving the necessary mentorship and support. So SMMEs at the end of the day are the engines of employment, innovation and inclusive economy within South Africa. In terms of digital platforms, we've heard a lot about how digital platforms and AI has come about. And these digital platforms are really making life a lot more easier for our SMMEs out in the communities. The digital platforms have transformed the whole business landscape for the South African SMMEs. And it's actually lowering the entry barriers and creating new low-cost opportunities to start, run, and grow their businesses. And we see this every day within our own SMMEs. First of all, the digital platforms will give the SMMEs access to both local and global markets with little to no upfront cost. You know, if you ask SMMEs what is the biggest challenge, they will all tell you funding, funding, funding. But there's a lot of things that can actually be done without funding. There's the e-commerce platforms that's available, like Takealot and Bid or Buy or Shopstar. I actually didn't know about Shopstar until I started to do some research, where you can sell your products online. There's social media platforms like Facebook and WhatsApp and Instagram and TikTok that can be widely used as a free marketing tool. And I think a lot of our SMMEs are actually making use of these platforms to distribute and to make people aware of the products that they have available. The digital platforms can also reduce the marketing costs. Again, you can use Facebook and Instagram ads. You can use WhatsApp Business. And I think a lot of the young SMMEs are making use of WhatsApp Business because it's easy, it's quick, it's low cost, and it's quite easy to set up as well. It also assists with affordable payments. I mean, nowadays you have things like Yoco and SnapScan, and it's so easy for your customers to actually pay you, and the fees for those different tools are not that high that a small SMME cannot afford to have a card machine available. Very few people nowadays walk around with cash, so the moment you enable them to pay with their bank cards, you also open up additional opportunities and growth opportunities for yourself as a young SMME in our country. And then, I mean, mobile banking and fintech apps. I think everybody that's currently in this program knows exactly how a banking app works. I think we all have banking apps. And it's time that we start using those banking apps also as young SMMEs to make sure that our businesses grow. It also, these digital platforms give us access to logistics and delivery networks. I mean, if you have a product that you, let's say, advertised on Facebook Marketplace or maybe on Takealot, it's so easy to actually get your product out now to your various clients by making use of these courier services like Yopudo and the Courier Guide. There's a number of them available. And I also know that some of our SMMEs at the moment are making use with like Bolt and Uber to actually assist them with some of the deliveries of their products. So going to a post office, hoping that your parcel will eventually get to your client, that's the old ways of doing it. There's now proven ways in the market where you can take your product and it will be delivered. When we look at opportunities, specifically for youth in our country, just want to get to something here. As I said in the beginning, I think it's important that our youth must stop thinking that they need to get a job, to get rid of that unemployment status. I think our people need to think differently and think more in the line of creating those jobs. So not to be a job seeker, but to be the employer at the end of the day. I was asked to present some of our ICT programs that we offer to youth as entry into the whole SMME world in our country. We know that the current boom or the hype is our cell phone repairs. And I think you all know that there's a lot of, actually more than 600,000 foreigners that's running these cell phone repair shops within our different malls and communities. So there's a huge opportunity for our South African youth to get into this whole program and actually get that market back so that we can empower our communities. We also have other opportunities that goes with it that I will share. But what I'm going to share with you in the next few slides is our ICT SMME model. And there you will get an idea on how we offer these ICT programs and technical programs to our youth across the country with the various collaborating partners that we get involved. So we've been offering these ICT programs for the past 8 years across the country. We've covered every single province at this stage. And as we go along and we get funding from different entities, our funders normally determine where the training must be. We go out and we offer these programs. Over the past 5-6 years, we've actually developed a fully integrated ICT SMME development model. In the beginning, what happened is we will go out, we will train you how to fix a cell phone or train you how to put up a satellite dish, and then we would go away. And we've realized, but that is not enough. Our young people do not know how to run businesses. They do not know what to do in terms of their marketing, how to get customers in. And I think the most important part is the finance. So that led us to the development of this model, where we not try and only give them the technical skill, but also make sure that we give them the business skill, hold their hand through a mentoring program, and at the end of the day, assist them to run their businesses. So as I said, we've successfully rolled it out in 9 provinces. Maybe the only unfortunate part is that this is not free training to everybody. And I think it's because of the costs involved. You'll see as I carry on. But we do have funders that come up, and mostly government, because this is quite a big push for them to develop these young ICT SMMEs. So I want to go into a little bit of the SMME development model. It is quite a detailed model. I know most of you will probably not be able to see it on the screen, so I'm going to break it down for you to understand what this model is and how we actually roll it out. So first of all, on the outside is our stakeholders. Now we know, and as SMMEs out there, you know the importance of relationships and the importance of collaboration with various partners. And it's the same for us. If we want to go out and have training initiatives, it's important that we have our relationships in place for various reasons. Sometimes they come up and they will pay for accommodation and transport for some of our young people. Sometimes they will offer them additional mentoring and coaching opportunities. Sometimes it's an international organizations like the British High Commission that actually invests in our country in skills to develop the young people in our country. So here are just some of the partners. Yes, we've worked with Walter Sisulu, and I saw one of the previous comments of somebody that attended the program at Walter Sisulu. NYDA, we've officially been partnering with them for the past few months. You'll see they're also part of our official training now. Then we have various universities across the country. We also have private institutions. Social development that we work with, DCDT, sometimes the private mines get involved where they will sponsor for their communities. But the stakeholder relationships and the collaboration partners at the end of the day can determine the success of such a training intervention. The second part is the recruitment. So we know that there's thousands of people interested in these opportunities. We recently ran an advert in the Free State for our cell phone repairs, and we had over 2,500 people who applied for the opportunity, and we could only train 30. So we have quite a stringent recruitment and selection process to make sure that we select the right people for the right course. Basic criteria is a grade 12 with maths above 50 or maths lit above 60%. This can depend on the funder. If they are willing, we can lower it to a 40 and a 50%, and it sometimes happens, especially whether it is an accredited program that we offer that's registered with the CETA. So if it is registered with the CETA, obviously the requirements are higher. You must have an interest in entrepreneurship. So if you have that entrepreneurship mindset and that's what you wanted to do your whole life is to have your own business, but you also like the technical part. So you like taking electronics and electrical things apart at home and trying to put them back together again. Obviously, most of our funders, they're very adamant that we have to train South Africans and you must have a valid SA ID. And then participants must be able to read and write in English. I think at the end of the day, we all know that English stays the business language, and it's important, especially when we start working with suppliers, that they are also proficient in English. The recruitment phase itself, to give you a little bit of detail. So typically what happens, we will design an advert. It will go out on various platforms. Mostly it will go out on the NEMISA Facebook page. It will also go out on the NYDA pages. And there you apply via a Google form where we ask you some information about yourself and also why are you interested in doing this specific course. We then go through the first phase where we look at what was the requirements. And then obviously based on those requirements, we do a basic selection. Once that is done, we have some pre-assessments that happens. In some cases, depending on time and depending again on the funder, there's some online programs that need to be done beforehand. So we typically send out a Microsoft Digital Literacy, where the digital literacy comes in again, that needs to be completed. Or in other cases where it is offered as part of the program, we only have the online assessment. So this online assessment is an hour assessment, only happens once off, and you need to show us in that assessment that you have this business mindset and that you're really interested in technology. So it's not book knowledge that we ask you. It's more about how you see things and how you interpret what's going to happen in your business. Then a very crucial, and I think this sometimes is a terrifying step in the process, is where we have the interviews. We prefer to have it face-to-face. It's not always possible, so we sometimes do it on even a WhatsApp call. We also try and make it as cost-effective for our applicants at that stage so that they can participate. Yes, we know we have challenges with internet signals, but we really try and go out of our way to make sure that we can actually have these interviews. We have an online system where we have different people in the interview panel, which will score these candidates so that we make the best possible selection at the end of the day. So you can see that our recruitment for us is very important because at the end of the day, we need to make sure that the right people are sitting in front of us. All right, so now you're selected, you're probably part of a group between 20 and 30, and now we will actually go into the different training aspects. In week 1, again, if the digital literacy was not part of the recruitment, we cover digital literacy in the class, and the main reason for this is that we hand out tablets to the candidates, which will become their property, and we need to make sure they all have the basic fundamental digital literacy skills. We then spend a lot of time on digital entrepreneurship with a solid focus on the business model Canvas. This is a tool that's used worldwide for SMME development, and this also forms the basis of what happens after the face-to-face training. The last one is our marketing. We know that a lot of our SMMEs struggle with the marketing part, so we try and encourage them by giving them a digital marketing course and in certain cases WebWiz, where we teach them the basics of website development. Week 2 and 3 is then our technical skills, whether it's cell phone repairs or fiber optics or computer repairs. There's even WISP and DTT installations and maintenance. So week 2 is basically your theory of this, and we really start at the bottom because we know that these technical skills are not covered in the school curriculums anymore. And then it's towards the end of the second and the third week where you actually get into the practical. Let's use the cell phone repair as an example. We ask the candidates to bring broken phones from home, and then they will actually fix those broken phones during the course. And by the end of the third week, they actually can sell these phones already and make their first money before they're even done with the course. So we offer it in 2 ways. It's either accredited or non-accredited, again, funder dependent. If it is accredited, it means that you will have to be registered on the MICSETA database, and you will get a statement of results of the unit standards that we cover within the program. Non-accredited, it's exactly the same content, so you're not going to miss out. The only thing is that you are not registered on the CETA database, and you do not get that statement of result at the end of the day. But what you do get in both, whether accredited or non-accredited, is the skill, the knowledge. You do get your competence certificate, so it's the statement of results that's the difference between the two. The training includes all the practical concepts, all the theory concepts, and then the practical applications. Part of the practical applications is where you will use things like virtual labs and 3D design and different tools to also make sure that you know exactly what's happening inside, let's say, a cell phone. Week 4 is the new add-on, and I must say I think this is going to work very, very well, where we actually bring the NYDA into as part of the course where they offer their business management course to our candidates. That means they are ready by the end of their training to then apply for funding at the NYDA instead of going back after the course and then attending the NYDA training. So I really think, as I say, we've just recently started to make this officially part, but I can already see the impact it has on the SMMEs and their knowledge about business. Then the most important and the most crucial part is the mentoring and coaching. As I said in the beginning, this model was developed by ourselves and our service provider. Now you've met Mr. Wikus van der Merwe from HCLS. They are actually the ones that we worked with in developing this model. And they also play a crucial part when we come to the mentoring and coaching. So after your 4 weeks face-to-face, we're not going to leave you to try and start your own business and run your business. We take you by the hands through 12 weeks of mentoring and coaching where the business model canvas forms the basis of that training, and we will teach you how to actually run your business. The outcome of the program is for you, your business to be ready, to be up and running, for you to be ready and up and running. And very important is that you are compliant when it comes to your business registration. For most of our programs, once you leave the program, so once you've completed it, you will actually receive tools in cell phone repairs. It's a basic cell phone repair toolkit. For our DTT, you will get your ladder and you'll get all your equipment so you can climb on the roofs and install your your dishes. So whatever tools is applicable and obviously affordable, we include in the course. You also get a tablet. Now on that tablet is all the learning material, so you can always go back to your learning material. And I think the most exciting part is your CIPC and your BBBE certificate. So you walk out of the course as a fully registered business owner. So we tell the students on day one that there's certain things they're going to gain in the course and a lot of things they're going to gain. But the main thing that they lose is their status of unemployment. And it's not that they are employed, but they are actually business owners by the time they leave the course. There's some real life images of people in class fixing their phones. You can see some of the tools they have, and these are the tools handed to them at the end. And then, as far as possible, we try and have these celebrations with a small certificate handover. We can unfortunately not call it the graduation because it is a skills program, but where funding permits, we have these certificate ceremonies where you can put on your black gown, walk over the stage, shake somebody's hand, and if we can get a minister or deputy minister there, we try as far as possible, and you receive your certificate of competence. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. One last thing I want to say is that we have a motto in our CoLab. And the motto says that we are changing lives one at a time. And that's really what we try and do when we go out into the communities And you know what? Even if you touch one young person's life in that community and you can change that life can change another one again. And by doing that, we can eventually reach our youth. Thank you, Gugu. And I think that's from my side it for today.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lambert, for that insightful presentation. And young people, I think the most important part that
I took out from this is that time for us to be going out, filling out CVs and looking for jobs, it's now no more. We need to start looking at how can we form our own businesses and be the employers instead of going out and looking for jobs. And the great programs that are there, we need to take charge and go out and grab them with both hands. And you all saw the requirements for the programs. So those who are present here, you can also share with young people who are still at school to make sure that their maths and English, they are on par in order for them to be able to access these opportunities. And they will then be able to form their own businesses. And I think also as the NYDA, we are really grateful to be now part of these programs as well. As you've heard from different speakers, that NYDA is trying to formulate partnerships with all these organizations so that we can have one direction where we'll then say we are changing the lives of the young people as also change the lives of
Gugu, may I share quickly something? Just one sentence?
Is it me? I think she's frozen.
Yeah, and I think Gugu is frozen.
Then I think you can steal the opportunity.
Yeah, maybe she's unfreezing herself. Our next advert will soon go out for Soweto. So please keep your eyes open on the Facebook pages and the social media pages for both NAMISA and NYDA for our next course in Soweto. Thank you.
And I think I'm also going to steal a moment and just share quickly on the point of starting our own businesses and thinking in terms of entrepreneurship and creating jobs rather than looking for jobs or to be employed. There's in the creative sector, which a lot of young people are already in that space because as my colleague mentioned earlier, we're using social media. There's the social media platforms. You all know these platforms as young people. You are on these platforms day in and day out. And sometimes you can even buy data for just that platform that are cheaper that you don't need for other things. There's also, in the boom of content, the era of content creation, we need to formalize those skills because now sectors or untraditional forms or directions of finding work opportunities are now booming. So just thinking from a freelancer perspective, you don't have to be a full-time employee at a business because some of us might not be that way inclined of starting and running our own businesses. So there's also an opportunity to think like a consultant and think about freelancing, honing that skill and putting together a proposal, 2 slides, 3 slides. This is who I am. This is what I do. This is the services I offer. And this is my rate card. And then having multiple employers and just planting that on your social media pages that you are already living in and utilizing So there's different ways of thinking about employment as well, from a consultancy, freelance point of view, for those who might not be, looking into going full blown running own business. Because if you're a consultant and if you're managing yourself, you are in fact running your brand as a business. Thank you.
I'm not sure if Andile is.
Yeah.
Gugu is back.
I see a question in the chat, Antoinette. Vatiswa, which AI platform did you use for your slides? I used Gemini. I used Gemini, which is a Google platform, and there's two, I think, options there. There's Gemini Flash and there's Gemini Pro, and I just find it for quick presentations, sometimes on a topic where I need to get some insights and formulate something looking professional and sleek, but without deep diving too much into certain aspects. It turned out perfectly for me. And like I said in the beginning of my presentation, I literally put that together last night at 9 o'clock, and it took me an hour. I did in that hour have to prompt Gemini a couple of times to say they couldn't find, as an example, the pictures. The pictures were a big thing. They couldn't find pictures that would upload properly for the drone carriage and the old car, the 1900s vintage car. So they couldn't upload that. So I had to go find the link to the picture and go replace it in the code. That's more advanced. So I did a bit of coding. I'm not a coder, but I did a bit of coding. So with AI tools, practice, and playing with these tools as often as you can, you start getting better at prompting, and you start getting better at understanding what words to use and what prompts to use. So I hope that answers your question. Sithombe Sihle Mthembu. Thank you.
I also see another question from Ompemetse that asked about maths and physical science. I'm not sure, but I think that might be related to mine. Remember, physical science is not a requirement. We do look at maths or maths lit. But we also have ad hoc cases. So in other words, you might already be fixing phones, but you just don't have an official business doing it. And that's why part of the application form, we allow you at the end to motivate why you want to be part of the program. So we do look at those motivations. If you already have a business, you are running a cell phone repair shop somewhere, we can also look at including you in the program if it is non-accredited. But the maths basically comes into the whole thing of problem solving, so that we also know that you have that logic of problem solving to solve problems with these cell phones. So yeah, don't feel bad if you don't have maths or physical science. If you're already in this field or in the tech field, just make sure that the motivations are good. You know, we get young people that say, I love technology, and that's why they want to be part of the program. I think we all love technology. That doesn't say that you are interested in business and interested in the technical part of it. So I also think, and maybe just a hint from my side, when you guys apply for opportunities, and you do have the opportunity to say why you want to be part of something, make sure that your motivation is good. So tell us why, really go into the details. Because remember, we have something on paper, and we have to look at paper for criteria. But if you can show us in your motivations why we must consider you, we do consider. And we do spend time in reading those motivations. So please make sure that when you have the opportunity in any application form, that you give that detail through to us. Is Gugu back?
Yes, I'm back.
Ah,
Thank
hello,
you so
Gugu.
much.
All right.
Yes, I'm here. Apologies for the loss of network. I'm here now, and thank you so much to the panel
For taking on the questions. I think there were questions for Sis Vatiswa in terms of the AI platform that she was showing on her slides. If you can indicate on that. And then I think the other question for you, ma'am, was, are there any free platforms that they can utilize if they want to do their courses on the AI, on AI? Yeah. So over to you, Sis Vatiswa.
Hi, Gugu. So I did see that while you were having technical difficulties, and I did answer Usi Tembesihle. If you see, she's saying thank you. So I told everyone that I used Gemini 2.5. You can either go Pro or you can use Flash. Just go to your Gmail account on Google. It'll be like a little light blue star on the top right. Click on that. You can create presentations, or you can actually use data. You can tell it to analyze data and give you insights. For example, if you've got an Excel spreadsheet that you want to see, okay, how many people are no, how many people are yes, how many people are what age, and all those kind of things, that's data analysis. So these AI tools also help us with that. So I did answer that questions. And in terms of a free AI platforms or tools, I think, am I understanding the question correctly by saying which free AI courses one can take to learn AI tools? Is that the question, Gugu?
Yes, that is the
Yes.
one.
So, like I said in my thank you, like I said in my intro, I am from ALX, and we are in the space of digital skills training, and we have quite a number of programs that we offer, from web development to AWS cloud computing, Salesforce. But we've actually got a program that I'm going to drop in the chat, and maybe Andile can. Going to drop a link in the chat. Maybe you can share it with our audience. We do have a free, because some of our programs do unfortunately come at a minimal cost of 99 Rand a month times the duration of your program. But we have a free AI Starter Kit program. I hope that's, yes, the free AI Starter Kit program is literally basic introduction into AI, because we understand it can be quite an overwhelming topic. So you can start with that and complete that program, get your certification, and you kind of will understand how to work with basic AI programs and the fundamentals and the basics. Then there are other programs which are more advanced, where you deep dive into the many different tools. So, but my instruction or my recommendation today would be to start with that free Starter Kit program, and then see if you like it and you've got the inclination for it and a deeper interest, and then you can go to our website and look at all the other advanced programs that we have. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your answers, Vatiswa. And I think from Mr. Koza,
there's an interest from regulatory exams to partner with the organization on the green economy. And I think the other partners as well, because he's saying he is involved, they are involved in the ICT sector, construction and entrepreneurship. So we can maybe then speak to him, and we will take the details under, and then we can be able to connect him with the colleagues which are part of the panel. I don't see any other. Oh, there's just that I think Deepsloot they're saying when programs are being undertaken, we can you please consider them as well. Okay, and Sis Nomonde, I think we note that you are also an entrepreneur. You involved in bundling welding, and you've tried partnering with colleges. We are at Ekuru Lane. Yeah, so Nomende will also then take down your details, and we can be able to share information with you. How do we apply for NYDA to help incorporate AI in our products as a business? From Polokwane. You can send an email. I think it's polokwane@nyda.gov.za. I think the coordinator there will then direct you to the right platform, and we can also, I think ALX, Vatiswa did indicate that they also do some work on the site on that as well, in terms of assisting in you identifying the right platforms for AI. Okay. I think I've covered all the questions at the moment, and we thank you so much for listening to the chat on this panel and for joining, and hopefully you've gained all the other skills. And I will just check with my panel if there's any indications of any learnings that are upcoming that they want to talk to, so that then the young people we have on the chat, they can then grab the opportunity and access them. But I remember that there was some indicated by Ms. Lombard to say there's upcoming trainings that are coming. If they are indicating interested in applying, especially on the cell phone repair course that she indicated earlier. So I'll just give to Ms. Antoinette and then Ms. Vatiswa and Mr. Koza to just indicate on that, if they have any other opportunities that are upcoming. Over to you, Ms. Lombard.
Thank you, Gugu. Now, as I said, there's one upcoming in Soweto soon. And the rest, they please need to join the NAMISA social media pages, especially the Facebook page, the NYDA one. I think the fact that you're all in this session means that you're already there. So we will advertise all the upcoming programs on those various platforms. I do see there was another question about somebody that say they're 40 years old. We do consider people that's a bit older than 35. It just depends on the funder. Especially with our private funders, they are not so strict on age. So please do apply. Don't let your age stop you. There might just be an opportunity for you as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything, Ms. Vatiswa?
Just a quick one from my side. All our opportunities are also available, all available on our website. Just make sure you look at the chat, follow that link for the free AI starter kit program, just for basic fundamentals in AI. Then you can browse at the other programs available as well for advancements. We will be posting upcoming opportunities in the coming weeks or so on the NYDA social media pages as well. ALX South Africa across all social media platforms. But it is Youth Month and we are on the ground. We love meeting with you guys where you are. So June 16, next Monday, we will be at 3 locations. Come meet my vibrant team and engage us in person. We will be in Potchefstroom in the Northwest with the NYDA on the 16th. We will also be in Molitsane Sports Complex with City of Johannesburg and other youth organization. That's going to be a fun one, loads and loads of fun and entertainment and learning. The team will be then the third location on June 16. We will be in Soweto at Iming Drive, Zone 6 in Diepkloof. So look out on our social media pages. We'll be posting all of these locations there. Come join us, meet with the team so we can engage you in person and explain some of these concepts to you in more detail. And ALX South Africa, one word, across all social media platforms. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vatiswa. Mr. Koza, anything from your side? Okay, I think he might have left the chat. Thank you. Oh, he's there. Okay, you can go ahead.
Thank you so much, Cisco. Two things. All the opportunities are on the NYDA platform. And we are going to also share our email for the partnerships. I saw there was one colleague who wants to partner. We're going to share that with the information with him and possibly, meet them. I'm not sure whether they're in the Western Cape or Eastern Cape, but all our opportunities are on the NYDA social platforms.
Thank you so much, Mr. Koza, and thank you so much to all the panel members, extending our gratitude for joining this platform, and for all the young people and everyone that took their time to listen to us today. We are now come to an end of this webinar, and looking forward to having further engagement with everyone on the platform who have interest in all the programs that were presented today. And once again, thank you to the panel, and thanks to everyone. And we looking forward to Monday, I think as Vatiswa has shared, which is our Youth Day taking place in the Northwest. And hopefully those ones who are here on this platform today from the Northwest will meet them there on Monday. And all the best to everyone, and take the opportunity to grab the opportunity with your both hands, and let's have more entrepreneurs rather than having those ones who are looking for jobs, and we're looking forward to the future of work. Thank you so much to everyone, and goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.